Hello and welcome back for Game 4. I'm still Julian Pastry Time Car, and keeping me company for the rest of the day is Sam Kobe Hartman Kensler.
I gotcha. Quick upgrade.
We're gearing up for Game 4 with two teams at opposite sides of the standings in FlyQuest versus Clutch Gaming. Let's take a look at the starting rosters. On the blue side, it is Clutch. In the top lane, it is Huni. In the jungle, Lira. Mid Damonte, bot and support Piglet and Vulcan, and their coach Mixcrag.
And then selecting the red side, it will be FlyQuest. In the top lane, it's Viper, Riven player as of yesterday. Jungle, it will be Santorin. Mid lane, Pobelter. Bottom, WildTurtle. Support, JayJ. And Coach Invert on stage.
I like that he said he had over 10,000 Riven games, and only yesterday is he now an
LCS Riven player.
Okay, that's true. You're right. FlyQuest finished yesterday's games tied for third, and with Riven, despite the strong start to the split, there's still a lingering question of whether their success will last.
Yeah, I mean, this team overall is looking very solid. They're well coordinated. They feel like their wins have been pretty methodical. So people have had a hard time kind of poking holes in FlyQuest, looking for one big error, one big mistake. So they generally are expected to stay somewhere around the top, but maybe not peek into those top two quite yet. Viper did have that super cool Riven pick that he pulled out yesterday for the perfect situation, right into Silas. Felt like it was very good because of the mobility for split pushing as well, and to keep pressure up. And then he actually had a huge part in the winning team fight where he 2v1s the backline to get FlyQuest the victory, even though they had been bleeding dragons, objectives all game long.
And it does feel to me like FlyQuest generally do well, but don't always do enough. Where in contrast, Clutch Gaming do too much and often fall flat on their face.
Yeah, a lot of the teams have been talking about being proactive and doing a lot of early game and creating plays. However, a lot of the execution hasn't been there. We definitely saw it yesterday as well. Maybe the communication that's going on for these guys on stage isn't quite up to what their planning is and what their ideas are for what they want to do. A 2-0 week one was their start. But since then, they are on a 5-game losing streak. That is the longest losing streak that we have here in the LCS. And the wins, back at the beginning, people were pointing at Damonte. He had the Akali game, the Galio game, and he had showed up so big for Clutch Gaming. So they really need to return to that type of form, find their strength again, and I think work on the execution and the communication here for their game plan.
Absolutely. I mean, the team is very talented. To me, there's no reason they can't do better, but whatever it is that isn't getting them over the finish line, they have to figure out a way to try and fix.
Yeah, we definitely have seen much higher peaks from this team already, and they still have time to make it into playoffs. Just looking for that 10-game mark where that's basically a guaranteed spot into playoffs. They still have some time to do that. Sitting at 2-5 right now, not ideal, but they've got some games to work with to climb out.
Yep, 8-3 actually saw Seb, their head of esports, tweet yesterday, so they certainly know what's on the line as far as how they get to playoffs. But let's see what happens here in this game as Champ Select has started. We have Nocturne and Ornn banned away there, so JayJ losing one of his more pocket supports we've seen in the early weeks. And of course, Urgot and Lucian continuing to be banned on the red side.
Yeah, definitely glad to see the Urgot ban starting to come through, as it's actually gotten through first pick a lot of the games that we've seen so far in the LCS. One thing I've been surprised with the trends of our pick bans in our particular league is that Yasuo isn't prized as highly as I thought he was going to be. This is 9.3 with all the extra crit item changes. It really helped out item builds for Yasuo. So even though he didn't get direct buffs, we thought we were going to see a higher presence, either bottom lane or as counter picks for solo lanes, but still hoping, Pastry. My fingers are crossed.
Me too. And there are Yasuo players on these teams. Pobelter has played it. Damonte, I'm sure, can play it. Huni has definitely played it, as Cassio ban means that WildTurtle will lose the Ezreal, as that is the first pick overall for Clutch. Of course, Piglet feeling very comfortable on that champion as well. Viper clearly upset. I'll bring a Mumu to indicate the sadness of not getting Ezreal.
Yeah, I mean, you're talking about the Viper players on Clutch. We actually have a full Yasuo, the Yasuo players. We have a full Yasuo themed show at the end of the day today for our cooldown with Huni and Damonte. So you can get some more Yasuo action even if they don't pick it in this game. But as you're saying, they split up the Ezreal and the Zoe poke composition probability here. With Clutch Gaming, I think, taking a very strong part. Piglet Ezreal. That has been a go-to champion for him for years. and he has really excelled with the new item build as well.
You can see the win rate there for Ezreal, 72% in the LCS. Other global leagues, it hovers around 500. It's about 50%, give or take a few here and there, but it is very successful here and will be paired with Vulcan's Braum.
Yeah, and a large part of that success, and everyone's been talking about, is how the longer average game time for the North American LCS is contributing to Ezreal getting multiple tier items stacked up. He gets his hybrid build going. So his ultimate does lots of damage, the W does lots of damage, the combo does lots of damage as well. And he definitely is a huge, huge difficulty in dealing with poking around objectives, especially later in the game.
Well, I like this from Clutch, also selecting LeBlanc. So seeing the early Zoe, Damonte, very confident and competent on these types of champions and matchups. Not bad as well. There's Kai'Sa also locked in for WildTurtle, so didn't want to lose his option of AD carries. We'll take one now as we begin phase 2 of bans.
Kai'Sa is another interesting one, and we're talking so much about AD carries because 9.3, so many of the items got reworked here. A lot of Kai'Sas have been starting going for crit. You just buy parts of the Infinity Edge that you're going to build, and I believe an extra pickaxe to get the full flat attack damage for your Q upgrade. That gives you a bunch of burst. You know, takes you through the early game. Then you start completing your items and you go for the attack speed 1 secondary and you do the kind of crit Kai'Sa. It's such a cool champion kit where the build has constantly evolved based on the buffs and nerfs to items. The AP Kai'Sa has been the best at sometimes. The AD Kai'Sa, attack speed Kai'Sa. She's definitely very flexible.
Yeah, and can adapting your draft as well. If you need more AP, build her AP. If you want more AD, because hey, you want to play, I guess Yasuo, you do the opposite, but you have options. We saw that from Sven last game, going basically full AP after Ginsu's, but we have some more bans to talk about. There's J4 banned by FlyQuest and Silas banned by Club.
Yep, Silas is going to be out here. Anytime you got that wild card banned, I start to think of what are the other possible picks that Clutch want to go for here. Are they ultimate-based champions, or do they just not want to deal with Silas? Because not that many players have put in a lot of time practicing against it. It could be either one the case thus far. I do like the LeBlanc pick as well into Zoe. We've been seeing so much Zoe rise into priority as one of the new power mid laners because her lane phase is quite good and her late game is extremely powerful in picking people off. But LeBlanc, an all-in assassin, can punish one of Zoe's few weaknesses. Early on, you can go straight at Zoe, attack her. She has no escapes except her own flash. And even when she gets access to her R, you still come back to that same spot. So it makes it easy for mobile champions like LeBlanc to combo with junglers and pull off kills on Zoe.
Yep, and we don't have the jungler yet for Clutch, but we do for FlyQuest. As Santorin going to take Lee Sin into battle this go-round. We will see Clutch finish out their draft though. Lira losing his Lee Sin. Perhaps we'll show the Elise again, perhaps something else. Perhaps Huni will play Sion. He will play Sion. All right, locked in for Clutch.
Oh, baby. Yeah, I mean, technically it could still switch around with some wonky flex, but it's looking like we're going to get Huni on Sion. And this is a guy who has changed so much over the years. People have been talking about how poorly he's been doing in fairly recent history and kind of starting to fall off a bit. Now he's going to tank duty, it looks like. Presumably, it could be a jungle Sion, and they could give him a top lane Karthus or a top lane LeBlanc if they really wanted to. But we would think it is the jungle Karthus for Lira and the top lane Sion tank for Huni.
We'll see, but that is Karthus' last pick there for Clutch, so kind of spicy for the final one. We'll see what FlyQuest wants to lock in to round out their draft. Viper needs a top laner. Viper wants Riven.
He's so happy about yesterday. If there's that much pressure
Viper gets
built up,
Riven.
oh my goodness, he locks it in again into the Sion. He is unafraid, and there's nothing to be afraid of. A Karthus jungle is not going to gank you. Karthus is a farm jungler, so there's not a lot of pressure that comes out, especially early. And then into the Sion, who also on this patch got nerfs to the laning phase with Q damage reduction and W cooldown increase early. It's a very easy lane here for Viper, so I think almost all of this playmaking is on the side of FlyQuest in the early game here, even though we are talking about, oh, this early pick of the LeBlanc, like mid lane, go mid lane for clutch gaming. When you lock in Karthus as your jungler, there's not going to be a lot of help unless it's to take the kill with your ultimate later, and while LeBlanc does 80% of the work herself.
Certainly a different look here for Clutch and a pretty aggressive one for FlyQuest, but we did see Viper's team fighting look exceptional yesterday on Riven. I think everyone, knows Riven is that classic 1v1 montage style champion, but Viper showed that you can play very solid and very well in pro. For Clutch, I do like that they're kind of falling back in. Honestly, Huni playing something like Sion's somewhat humbling, I would say, for a player that has been so good and so stylish for so long, but just doing something that will work with good scaling, with solid champs for your players that have been playing well. If Clutch need kind of a bounce back game, this is a pretty good way to start it.
And to Huni's credit, he said in his interview this year that he wanted to play this year more for the team. He didn't want to be pigeonholed into the old, only play for yourself, only play for lane, try and hard carry. So he's doing it here, putting it into practice, playing for the team as best he can with the Sion front line.
Well, we'll see how it all shakes out. FlyQuest looking to chase a few more wins and move their record back towards even. Clutch looking to stop a long slide that they've been on here so far through the split. I was expecting maybe some drama, maybe some Yasuo to move their things up, but instead it's Sion. And Karthus jungle, which is kind of cool for Lira without Lee Sin. Interesting to see him take a very damage-heavy pick.
30 seconds until minions spawn.
Sounds like pretty one-sided in the audience here today. FlyQuest showing up big.
Santorin chilling by his buddy Ghost Poro. See exactly where the teams do want to fan out to, and very exciting to see Viper back on Riven. Looks like it's Conqueror plus Sorcery, so I imagine the same runes as yesterday. A lot of mobility there to dance around the Sion's Q, so we'll see if Viper can exploit this matchup, if it'll be more farming, and then see what happens from that point onward. POB and Damonte, though, just facing back off. There is a nice ward here from Fly that I believe has spotted Lira. So I imagine the junglers will be starting on the same side. Santorin certainly on red here with Viper next to him, and Lira will be starting on the blue.
Yeah, bottom side, nobody pulling for their junglers, so they get to throw skill shots willy-nilly. Tiny bit of damage does land, and it looks like WildTurtle and JayJ going to try and get the early shove here. Piglet going for those Qs for Kleptomancy to try and cash in early. Actually, Pobelter goes aggressive super early on the LeBlanc, but Damonte getting his electrocute actually makes the trade very, very close to even.
Yep, you can also see difference in summoners here. Ignite for Damonte versus Barrier for Pobelter. So with Airy looking to poke more and annoy the LeBlanc, then, all in and die, because LeBlanc's very good at that, and you're kind of not.
Yeah, I really do like Barrier against Karthus, especially for Pobelter. Every time you see that thing coming down, you can pop off the shield, so at least you're going to get value out of it almost every activation. And if you're just looking at flat health values of, what you can get out of heal versus Barrier versus possible damage reductions from things like exhaust, Barrier is the super high value one. It just has the smallest window, so all you have to do, time it correctly with a big amount of burst damage coming in. And that is very easy to do against Karthus, because the big laser beam is coming down.
A lot of wind-up time on that one, most certainly, as some Braum passive being traded back, but as you mentioned, Turtle and JayJ trying to get that shove going. Also in topside, just based on the CS alone, Viper off to a rollicking good start. 12-6 right now, so up away with Huni. I imagine still some minions to farm. This may be a very different look than the Riven matchup we saw yesterday.
Are we going to see Lira going for the gank? Lee Sin is here. Santorin, he doesn't have vision, but now he does.
Didn't see him. JayJ though lands the hook. Turtle trying to run away. Needs one more. The auto does proc. Lira also very low. That's first blood to Santorin, but it will be traded as Lira able to grab the kill in Death Denied. Still Piglet, who's going to go down. Santorin grabs the double. Might make it 3. Lee Sin, free win. He collects it all. Oh, JayJ, he stole it.
Phase 3, we went over this in Champion Select. When you got a Karthus jungle, don't go for the early ganks. Lira goes blind down to the top lane for the gank. Santorin is around for the counter. And Karthus just does not have early game abilities that are well equipped to go for even fights. You have to be so sure that you're not getting counter ganked. And even in that case, WildTurtle was able to turn around with the Ignite here of JayJ in the 2v2. They just burn him straight down. So let's take another look at it. He does walk through. They're behind him, so you're like, oh, the positioning looks good here. Turtle flashes early to get away from the possible Braum stump coming in. Even with just his Q there, gets him low enough for Santorin to slip right in. Lee Sin picks up that kill and then continues the chase to get triple for himself here. JayJ actually taking the last hit there, so not all of the money going to the jungler, but Santorin rakes it in regardless. And he's got an early bounty.
That was, yeah, he does. That was a high value counter gank, let's call it. Santorin collects almost everything. Huni TPing back to the top side though. Viper actually did early as well. So just some early game lane items here, nothing too crazy right now. Huni just getting the lane pushing as Viper play with some respect, back up and take the minions as they move towards the turret.
Santorin has had some of the best jungle stats for the entirety of the LCS here in 2019. Number 1 or 2 position almost every single week for pretty much everything, like KDA, kills, kill participation. He's really been very active. Only a couple of little off games and a few mistakes. Right now, though, he's back down to bottom lane, going for another gank, and he's in.
He might as well. Vulcan gonna hop away, but Santorin follows with the resonating strike. No flash, no hope here for Vulcan, and that's another kill. This time donated to WildTurtle.
Yep, he gives that one over. Q comes through, and WildTurtle is able to get some of the money as well. Really nice repeat gank. Because there are no summoner spells on the bottom lane, and because there's a Thresh in your lane, Lee Sin very easily enabled with the amount of mobility that comes from a lantern, dark passage him in, then he's still got a possible 2 dashes left to go for the kill. Nothing for Clutch to be able to recuperate here on the back end. So they're not even playing too far up, but JayJ is able to flash in. He knows that there's no extra summoner on either member of Clutch Gaming, so it's an easy flash advantage kill. And they give the money over to the Kai'Sa that they want to get scaling up.
Yep, I like the attempt by JayJ as well. Knows what Vulcan said, tries to hook Piglet, who does get out of the way, but bot lane went from bad to worse after the initial set of plays, and Santorin continuing to run rampant around the rift.
Yeah, I mean, Lee Sin already should have the advantage over Karthus. Early game, obviously, he can go for the 1v1s very easily, but getting those early kills and the summoner advantage around bottom lane just gives him free reign. Let's see what happens on top side. Huni moves down.
Pobelter is going to get caught out first, but flashes out of the way. There's the ulti in from Huni, who's trying to chase POB. The barrier, though, is a good amount of health, plus the move speed there from his W, so it does get out of the way. Crab over to FlyQuest. No casualties suffered.
Okay, so that is flash and barrier for Pobelter, for the ignite and Huni's flash on the side of CG. In the end, Scuttle Crab, I believe, was still taken by FlyQuest as Viper and Santorin were left there while Pobelter was running for his life.
What else are you gonna do?
Technically, they got the objective while the summoner trade went down. All planned.
Well, we'll see if there is any sort of revisit here onto Pobelter, or if Damonte can find a play with his flash and, oh, no ignite, but his flash still up and ready to go. Blue buff, though, will be the start of things. Lira donating that one over to Damonte. And is almost level 6 as both junglers farm up towards that ultimate.
Yeah, that might be the one opening you look for as Clutch Gaming, right? Your Karthus is now level 6. He wants to get Dark Harvest stacks no matter what, and you have a LeBlanc with a flash advantage over Zoe. So if LeBlanc can do enough work herself to allow Lira to just cash in with a Karthus ultimate, get an early Dark Harvest stack, get some money going for your team, then Clutch Gaming does have scaling options. We've been over this before, right? In this meta, a lot of North American teams have been going for the long game. And the key champions we pointed out in most of those long games, 3 of them are represented here on Clutch Gaming side. They have very good scaling. Sion, infinite health scaling. Karthus, almost infinite damage scaling. And then Ezreal as well with the double tier build. So we'll see if FlyQuest Beast early game here is enough of an advantage for them to end it before Clutch can get enough items and then group up.
That is an early cloud directive for FlyQuest, so things going as planned for now. And again, we've heard from FlyQuest in the early weeks that they know, like a lot of the teams here in the LCS, they want to play faster, they want to have better early games, and FlyQuest, as they grow, if they can more cleanly convert the early games that they are now getting, obviously a big look for them as Viper and Huni still doing battle.
Yep, and Viper feeling pretty good about this early game in particular. Been able to deny a lot of CS so far. Hook does land on bottom side. See if anything comes of it.
Some damage onto Vulcan, but not so bad. WildTurtle also going back in, but Lira is down here on the bot lane once again.
Yeah, passing by again, but even with the control ward here, River vision has been established for FlyQuest with their own control ward. So him venturing out there is very dangerous. He's got his flash though.
Q missed. Good news for Lira, as
Damonte
Damonte also roaming down. Ward hop over, keep safe. There's a bubble from Pobelter. Bit of damage traded back. Whee!
Yeah, about 30% of your HP. Definitely significant here. It is an exchange basically for 2 control wards, I guess, because they killed the Pixel one and made Santorin use his own for a ward hop into the blue buff, which is not an ideal placement for a ward. It technically does give you a little bit of vision to know that a Karthus isn't, trading back into your side of the jungle, but mostly going to be a Scuttle Crab traded over to pay for that ward.
So blue buff to Pobelter. Damonte continuing to try and shove and roam though. Bubble barely going to miss there as Damonte manages to step around it. And they'll just return to mid lane for now. Checking back in the top though, Viper has built a significant lead here in this 1v1. And for a MSI champion, world finalist, and guy that's played in 3 separate leagues, Huni must feel kind of bad because he used to do this to people with this champion.
He's playing for the team, Pastry. As we said, he's on tank duty, then now he's going to be glad to take up that mantle. He even expended his flash and ultimate roaming through the mid lane to try and get that kill for Damonte to help him out. So, Huni is behind, but this game, it isn't because he's playing for himself, right? He's playing for the team. Meanwhile, Damonte gets another paddle in.
Yep, nice redirect there from Pobelter on the paddle star. Damonte tried to jump out of the way, but continues to be harassed by Zoe. As you mentioned, Clutch is looking to kind of move things up towards that mid and late game, but FlyQuest continuing to play proactively around the map as RiftHerald does get started by Santorin.
Yeah, FlyQuest feeling so good about this early game. Lee Sin is set up with full control over the entire map right now. Lira basically just walks around his own jungle farming and looking for a possible opening to use the Karthus ultimate, but nobody on the team is really going to get their own advantage in lane anymore. As we can see, the blue control here for Pobelter and FlyQuest means that even mid lane with the LeBlanc matchup, they're not getting him low enough. Barriers back off of cooldown, so there's not a lot of possibilities here in the early game for Clutch to make this work.
And stopwatch in play as well, so certainly tough to try and take down POB. He does not stick around for extra plates. Huni burns the ulti to shoot you back towards top lane. RiftHerald was taken and is now ready for Santorin to use as well, so we're looking in the next 2 minutes to get some plate value in whichever lane he chooses.
Yeah, I really like how they are continuously moving the game state forward here for FlyQuest. He's constantly going for the next big objective. With RiftHerald, you can ensure that you increase the gold lead. One thing that I haven't quite seen in the LCS that Meteos actually mentioned to us that is one of his favorite things to do with the RiftHerald is you go to the lane that you have the advantage in, you push down the plates yourself and the bulwark builds up, so they get more armor and magic resistance, but then after you've already taken the 2 yourself, which you can pretty much do on one wave with most setups, then you activate your RiftHerald right there next to it, and since it does true damage with the charge, it can usually finish off the other ones really quickly, and so you can actually mine a turret extremely fast if you've got that alone time.
Mid lane is the current target for Santorin, although he still has a minute to drop this for extra value. Lira recalling in a brush will not be spotted as Santorin is going to find and take down that control ward. JayJ also roaming heavily in these stages with his Moby boots. Certainly curious to see where Santorin does want to drop Shelly.
Well, Dragon coming up means that they could use it as a diversion as well. This is another play that I like to do that's pretty creative. Looks like they're going to actually usher it up here to make sure they can get almost all this gold off the turret. Charge is definitely going to get off, give them 2 for sure, and it might even be first turret bonus.
They're going to try and take it down. Always a good turret to get if you can. Lira is going to go drowsy after the bubble. Pobelter moving forward. There's the hook in from JayJ, finds Vulcan, but he's stand beside Lira to get to safety.
All right, I think that FlyQuest should just go pick up the Dragon right now. They've forced LeBlanc out of lane, low health, took the turret. Looks like that's exactly where they're headed. Oh, red buff first. They just want to take everything. And honestly, they've got the power to do it.
Looks a bit greedy perhaps, but I think they've calculated enough that this is a perfectly safe play to make. There's a blast cone to get out to safety. You have Thresh lanterns just in case. Not sure they can start the Drake right away. FlyQuest probably have it in the forefront of their minds.
Yeah, they just got a reset off here. Honestly, LeBlanc completing Luden's Echo is a very big power spike. Regardless of how much gold is in the game right now, the items are what matters for your fight that you're going to take. And a LeBlanc getting the Luden's Echo in time for this dragon fight is so big for Clutch Gaming. That will give them some control around here, and they're even starting up the dragon themselves.
Yeah, you can see the 800 plate gold looks nice, but FlyQuest aren't here to fight with it around this first ocean.
No Zoe, back in base, so that means Clutch Gaming get an Ocean Drake to try and survive until later in the game and scale the Sion, Ezreal, and Karthus up. This is looking much more interesting now.
Well, that gold lead's still there for FlyQuest as it approaches 3,000, but the bleeding has temporarily been stemmed here as Viper gets a nice deep control ward onto the blue buff and flips himself back over the wall. Black Cleaver already done. Pobelter going to get chained up. Damonte moves in. Nullifying Orb keeps him a little healthier.
Yeah, even though it looks like that was pretty even, there's a Karthus on one of these teams. And if Zoe took another chunk of damage there, Damonte gets to call down Lira's ultimate and finish him off with JayJ.
Almost getting stunned. Last Q is true for Piglet as he snipes down JayJ.
Clutch Gaming are marching right back into this game. Piglet in the bottom lane finds the skill shot here to finish off the kill. And they are also going to pressure down the turret.
Should be able to get this as well. Demolish going to proc. And Clutch have enough to finish off this outer turret and equalize the structures here. Gold lead also going to sink closer to about 1,500 after that passage.
Let's take a look at how that happens. Slow lands, roots himself with the hook. That's about it. I guess it's just after Aftershock is gone, it's just an easier target. Landed the first Mystic shot and then into every other ability. He literally landed EWQ plus the earlier Mystic shot, and that is simply enough.
Turns out Piglet's a clean Ezreal. He's only had enough years playing the champion.
Yep.
And with 2 items now done, scaling up towards that Muramana. Huni doesn't feel so bad as he's finishing up his next few items and just getting his farm where he can. Again, we'll see if Viper can convert his pressure in the individual lane into those team fights. FlyQuest don't have a particularly traditional comp to try and play with, so there is, I think, some onus for them to get extend this lead and kind of play with the advantage they built for themselves.
Yeah, I think the plan for FlyQuest is to run with this early lead that they have. They want to take this map control, channel that into control wards deeper in the map so you can get your picks. Your idea with your Riven plus your Zoe Thresh combination is Riven will split push to draw the enemy apart, while your Zoe constantly fishes for picks with the Sleepy Trouble bubble, and then your Thresh could follow up very easily on that target because it was basically a guaranteed hook unless somebody else steps in front to block it.
Vulcan not going to be queued there. Clutch staying pretty aggressive around the Drake area, although there's not a Drake up for the taking just yet. Wanting to make sure they can hold all the vision. Damonte actually transferred down to that bot side of the map. So both teams still in the hunt for a few extra outer turrets. And again, I think the game slowing down a bit is helpful for Clutch.
Yeah.
See if FlyQuest can maybe get a little more pep in the step.
I think the Ocean Drake going to be super helpful as well, dealing with poke that could come out from Zoe. Never mind, Zoe's the one taking it.
That was nice. Oh, back into the bubble. Trap didn't quite expire. But Pobelter does not die. Didn't have the barrier, so maybe Damonte could have thought about going a bit further, but decides against it.
Everybody on FlyQuest has to get a little bit scared once they get low there. They know the execute could come in. I don't believe there's any Dark Harvest stacks quite yet on Lira, though, because he wasn't a part of the bottom lane kill where Piglet finished it off himself.
I'll try and take it for you. Oh, he has 2. I don't know how he has.
Nice.
Oh, I guess he got because he got the kill.
Ah.
He got one while dead, and that's what gives it over because Karthus passive. See, it was worth something there, despite getting the triple kill. Anyway, Piglet's still sieging in the mid lane. But Turtle and JayJ walking over there as well. Your instincts were correct. Also, we did see Sven on the Ginsu's AP Kai'Sa. This time, it is that early crit and already has that Q evolve.
Yeah, this is my favorite version. And of course, it does depend on your team comp like you were talking about earlier. You want to build around the strengths that you have with your team. But the early burst damage that you get with going the BF double pickaxe for an early Q evolve feels so nice. And now you can see he's going to transition into Rage Blade, plus he can get Infinity Edge afterwards and go crit.
Viper's still dancing around, but Tower's pretty healthy here.
Ooh, clean. Don't you just love watching Riven's CS phase stream?
I actually do. Viper's Riven is just exceptional to watch. Zooming down the river, grouping up as FlyQuest might try something around this Drake that's spawning in 15 seconds. Oh, he's stealing some creeps. Turtle's not going to lose his cannon, though, because Viper's a nice guy.
All right, let's see. What will Clutch's call be? Because Huni is pushing top with teleport right now on the Sion. They can decide to contest this Drake. They're down 2,000 gold worth of fighting power right now. I think most of it has actually been purchased and in inventory, so we'll see if it actually means a difference in this team fight. Teleport is coming in. They want to fight it.
Yeah, it's going to start here. Huni gives up the turret that he could have gotten. Drake is low. Santorin needs to finish it off. He does find the smite, but here's the fight. JayJ knocked up there by Sion. Huni with a great ult. Lira gets the kill into JayJ as Viper does get into the team fight. Finds the two-man stun, but he might be CC'd for a little too long. The knockup from Huni is wonderful as Damonte grabs that shutdown.
Big difference there, and Karthus is... Oh, he gets a stopwatch.
Nice watch there from Santorin. Saves his life. But Clutch, they find the fight they want, and they do win it.
Huni comes in with the teleport on the Sion, finds JayJ, knocks him with the ultimate plus the Q there, and then a little bit of what looked like miscommunication for FlyQuest, because Santorin got chunked out so heavily, you knew he is out of there. Viper does go in on the Riven and initiates for the team, makes a little bit of space for them, but he definitely goes down himself, and it is 2 kills and a turret for Clutch Gaming.
Yeah, Clutch actually go up in structures and slightly ahead on gold, despite the disadvantage they were at, as we'll watch this one again.
All right, Santorin does get the execute damage with his Q smite at the end, so they get the Drake on the way out, but since LeBlanc basically burns him down, he has to get out of the fight, and they already lost JayJ, so Viper going in there means that he is going on a one-way trip.
Piglet still chases, but no extra kills there for Clutch. But again, they'll take it. Looking to scale, happy to even up the gold, and FlyQuest feels like they somewhat floundered the lead they built for themselves. Certainly still available to find some team fights as the game moves on, but feels like things just aren't as easy as they would have been about 5 to 10 minutes ago.
Yeah, and we were definitely questioning a lot of Clutch Gaming's communication and coordination, especially earlier yesterday. But today, I really do feel like they have taken those moments where they see FlyQuest going for the recall after stealing that red, right? And slipping in to get the dragon. Huni trying to look for these opportunities on Sion to engage for the team. So it really does seem like it's paying off so much better for them this time around.
Oh, Damonte just gets deleted as Santorin's on a killing spree. Nice bubble there from POB.
Yep, POB able to find the pick here. Now, they should be able to get some damage on this turret. Maybe even stick around to finish it off. I guess Santorin's not going to come on the least in to finish it, but Pobelter will do enough work himself, and we'll pretty much just have a reset.
We'll keep FlyQuest up ahead in gold if they can claim this turret. Actually up a few
stand
hundred
for
after
it.
that. Boom! There we go. A few more sparkles onto the turret, and that's a take.
Yeah, people have become pretty accustomed to, once turret plates are gone, the outer turrets are insanely squishy, right? Because all these defenses left. So even though it looks like it might be risky going for that turret without your minions left, the turrets become so squishy after that 14-minute mark. And Pobelter, very well aware, sticks around, cleans up the extra gold for the team, and we are even, Pastry. 2 turrets apiece, and the gold only 1,000 apart.
Yep, not really a lead here for FlyQuest despite being ahead. 2 items done for both mid laners. Turtle finishing off his next few items as well. Here's a Drake up in a minute 45, but we are going to have to start thinking about Baron, and I think Viper in particular. He's finished his 2 core items, Death Dance plus Black Cleaver, which he did build yesterday also.
Yeah.
Is he going to apply pressure and just draw someone else other than Huni over to this lane? That will make FlyQuest's job a lot easier.
Yeah, he's going to have a very nice time down there. as you can see, he's already forced Huni out, who's using the ultimate to get back the lane. I don't think Viper's actually going to get much damage on the turret. He actually doesn't even go for any damage on the turret. And he's going to play for Vision up through the river instead. But with the 2 core items here of the Cleaver and Death's Dance, you get insane cooldown reduction. I believe he's going to have taken the extra 10% from Rune for himself, so he should be able to get the 40% already. And that's why you can see very good clean execution of these combos here as he goes in with the fight onto Sion. With Death's Dance, you know that there's no way Huni's ever going to be able to whittle him down. He just gains too much life back.
Got to hit him a lot of times, though.
And Conqueror,
like a lot of times. Like he has Warmogs, like a lot, but maybe too much.
It's a battle of sustain here. Warmogs versus Death's Dance. Huni just has to back off, let the Warmogs regen kick in. Meanwhile, Viper has to constantly hit minions and stuff to...
That's a lot of work for 300 health.
Yeah.
Still going. Slowly but surely. Getting down. Conqueror's proccing. This is a workout.
I mean, they dented each other's health bars a little bit, but that's about it. Some honey fruit there for either to pick up. Here we go for Viper.
Yep. Yesterday.
There's the Transcendence. That's what I was looking for. The cooldown reduction there in the blue rune you can see on the side does give him that 10 extra. So he is capped at 40 at the moment.
Still getting down these minions, but again, doesn't seem like he has too much safety to try and get damage onto the turret. So kind of a stalemate in bot lane for now, as Damonte also doing some side laning of his own. Will take down the outer turret there for FlyQuest and give Clutch their 3rd, but will that give the Drake over to FlyQuest? Santorin has started.
Ocean Drake gonna go over to FlyQuest side now. So previously in our sustain wars of Huni versus Viper, it was Warmogs plus Ocean Drake Sion versus just the Death's Dance Riven. Now Riven also will have an Ocean Drake. So I don't think either of these guys are actually gonna make a lot of headway as far as the split push goes. And it's probably going to be more about how they play with the rest of the team.
I mean, FLICKR also the team with Zoe on their side. So I think Pobelter happy to have some more mana to just pepper skill shots in with. But Clutch, again, holding firm. Gold lead is actually flipped back just slightly as they're up a few hundred gold. But to be honest, this game is at a pace that I think Clutch should be happy with. And once again, I have to go back to the simplicity of their draft. Huni, happy to take a significant CS deficit and just play with this tank, knowing that the team will move up in scale as the game moves on. And FlyQuest kind of need to find a way to bust through this Sion. And Viper is trying his darndest. But it's not enough. Yeah, it may never be enough.
He's chipping away. Hard work here. He's now level 16, so at least he does have the extra level in his ultimate. But honestly, he's going to probably want to use that for the team fight.
Well, while we're here, be sure to stick around after today's game as Clutch's Huni and Damonte will be on LCS cooldown. And you mentioned it, Kobe, but I heard that will be a Yasuo 1v1. So I'm excited.
Yep, that's going to be our theme for today. Because remember we had the game where Huni and Damonte were on the same team on Echo Fox. And everyone was surprised that the Yasuo pick went to Damonte in the mid lane. Huni giving the young guy a shot at it as well, so that we want to settle who once and for all between the two on the same team will be the better Yasuo. Meanwhile, the Karthus here, still scaling for Lira, is able to clear out a lot of the vision around Baron as well, and this is going to start to put a little bit more emphasis on these picks. You mentioned, right? The Zoe constantly looking for her Sleepy Trouble bubble, but also on the side of Clutch, Damonte, he's no slouch on the LeBlanc, looking for some burst damage.
Well, Turtle also under a bit of threat as the TP's coming in. It's Viper once again. Now a team fight's going to start for Clutch. He's back on an enemy bot lane once more, but instead they tie up the front line. Viper may be a little too far forward, but can keep dancing and shielding up. Lyra's damage not bad as POV. Can't quite find the poke that he's looking for on Clutch. They just walk away from that.
Red Rover, send Huni right over. Both top laners teleport to the other sides and then make it back to their team. But since Huni is Sion, he's able to get back at 100% HP, and they take the objective afterwards. So in the end, technical victory here for Clutch Gaming on the exchange of which top laner can last longer in the enemy front lines. It also cost them a stopwatch activation, but that one's going to be turned into a stone plate very shortly, so you want to get that active cashed in for some value.
Viper also with a GA, so You know, they're different kinds of front lines, but they are both trying to play in the front side for their team. FlyQuest also, his hard work finally paid off in the bottom lane. Took the outer turret kind of before that all started. He will be back to splitting. With no TPs up, he might have a bit more room to work with, but Clutch with that extra tower also threatening around the Baron very rapidly.
All right, how are FlyQuest now going to deal with the extra damage that's coming through from Clutch Gaming? Ezreal, double tiers have been built. Still stacking up the second one here for the Seraph's transformation, but Karthus damage is going to come through for the entire team and be unavoidable. Huni's going for it.
Looking for JayJ straight to the wall, but JJ still low, lands the hook, but Sion is just very difficult for them to kill. Viper dancing back around as POB tries to do what he can, but Damonte dives back in, almost got to kill Huni asleep. Won't quite die. Turtle is going in for it as Lira does get one stopwatch out of Pobelter, and JayJ somehow lives. FlyQuest still fighting on the other side as Viper grabs the shutdown. There's one kill back as Santorin will fall, but Viper still chasing, gets the knockup, lands the stun. No, he just missed as Turtle is also trying to run it down and get the other kill.
Turtle.
He lands the stun with a W. He grabs the next kill. Sion's drowsy him back to full health thanks to the Warmogs, and FlyQuest, they finally find a fight.
Oh my goodness, I want to see more Viper Riven in the LCS. He was on the attack mode there, flashed over into the Raptor Pit. He tried to ult the LeBlanc. I think he chose the clone. In the end, they still chase down Damonte, though, and they are keeping up the pressure. Lira now getting flanked.
And that's actually the wraparound, but Huni's have enough damage to take him down. They'll get Lira as well. Viper still chasing. GA still up. Keeps going, keeps going. The stopwatch will not be enough to save him. Huni trying to run interference in zombie mode, but FlyQuest grab it all.
FlyQuest are taking over here. They run right down the mid lane, get another turret. The Baron is available. 35 seconds left on both Lira and Huni. This should be a 5v3 around the Baron. What does Damonte have to say about it?
Well, he's got his Banshees. He'll do what face checking he can, but FlyQuest are onto the objective. True Shot Barrage gets some damage onto Pobelter, but Lira's not up. He can't ult. He doesn't even have it, even if he did. And that will be Baron over to FlyQuest, unanswered by Clutch Gaming.
Oh my goodness. What a well-played team fight from FlyQuest. Now, there's going to be another key stopwatch here. I believe Pobelter is holding on to one as well. JayJ, he flashes over, still gets hit by so much of the Sion and Ezreal damage that you get a little bit worried for him, but he just plays back in the team fight now, zoning a lot of the damage. You can see the Karthus and the Ezreal did not enter the rest of it, so it's mostly this team fight about positioning, where FlyQuest were able to section off the members of Clutch Gaming, finish up their kills, play as a team, and they just were relentless. After they got the edge in the team fight, the pressure continues. They go for the reset. Viper flanks around behind the turret. They also have JayJ come in, landing the hook off of the bubble like we talked about. Secures the kill onto the tank, while Viper finds the backline and Lira cannot get away.
And Santorin did die, but it was a noble one. I don't know how he found that kick onto Piglet, but he did. That kind of rolled the rest of the team fight over from there as FlyQuest play wonderfully as a team to give themselves this Baron and a pretty significant gold lead once more. The gold standard, of course, is to crack some of these inhibitor turrets. We'll see how Clutch's defense looks.
I gotta be honest, I was a little worried for Viper coming into the LCS. With the top laners that the teams were sporting this time around, he is a new guy coming up from the academy. The Riven player, people were really worried what was he gonna be like without it. And now he's showing up so big in back-to-back games this weekend, taking the turret down bottom with the Baron buff. FlyQuest, relentless.
Not quite enough to finish it off just yet, but they do get the mid inhib after taking down the turret, and Viper just launches back in. Last few autos, gonna keep dancing away, has that shield on an extraordinarily low cooldown. And FlyQuest just continuing to stream into the base. Huni, he popped his Stoneplate. JayJ on the front line. He's gonna land that hook. He pops a watch just to try and buy a bit more time, but Vulcan will finish him off. Still FlyQuest fighting Huni. Not enough front line to live through it all. And now gonna run back and try and take down POB. They'll run interference as they can. Huni will not be able to get a kill from the grave, and FlyQuest still charging in as Viper is just dancing around the Clutch base.
Yeah, we got Viper dancing around the front line, shredding people's armor with the Black Cleaver, while Turtle is able to melt them on Kai'Sa. He is taking down Huni so quickly here with the percentage HP damage plus the crits coming through and plenty of auto attack uptime. FlyQuest look like they are going to run this one through.
Yep, Mountain Drake the second does go over. Still 45 seconds left with Baron, and they already got one in him. see if they just want to charge down and take that bottom side, or maybe look for a bit of damage on top. But regardless, a game that was kept close by Clutch's good play in the mid game is once again broken wide open by FlyQuest.
We get another Spear of Sojin today, Pastry as well. Viper was able to pick one of those up. Definitely a rich man for being able to activate the ultimate, getting the extra little buff for your attacks as well afterwards. Feels super nice.
I think he's in Earth mode now.
Yeah.
I think that's what happens when you assemble this build.
He definitely liked the playstyle, right? He rushed 40% CDR. Now he's got the basically old Essence Reaver passive in the Spear of Sojin, coming with overcapped CDR even.
Shout out to Transcendence for giving a bit of extra AD. Makes sense why he wants the rune there as well, but
Big brain.
I'm just waiting to see Viper. I mean, he's already like tap dancing on the ruins of the inhibitors that Clutch are presenting them. It's going to get even more stylish as the rest of FlyQuest trying to siege. Damonte looks for the chain, does not land onto Pobelter. And here we go, Viper doesn't need the buff just yet. Going to keep dancing around, gets knocked up, finishes off the inhib. He's getting a friend to TP in. It's Piglet this time around, a Viper. He manages 1v2, we'll have to see. Doesn't put the ulti just yet. The GA though is there. Actually is ready and up with his Spear of Sojin buff, but it's 1v3. Gets to try and get something. Damonte does grab the shutdown.
That is big for Clutch. All right, they really needed that gold, and now they've got it on the LeBlanc, a first champion, maybe.
A deep TP.
Ooh, okay.
Huni, with quite the flank, is spotted by the minion wave.
Clutch know that this is their opportunity. They gotta pick on Viper, on the Riven. Can they get anything else? It looks like they're gonna reach too far.
Pobelter pops at Redemption, gets some move speed. And that's 2 inhibs down for Clutch. Super's going to start charging towards those Nexus turrets. Top inhib also open. So Viper did die, but it was a valiant death.
Yeah, FlyQuest still have a huge upper hand. For Clutch Gaming, they're really looking for that opportunity, and they were able to get the GA burn. So that's very big, as well as getting the kill and flash off of Viper. So, you know, you have to look at the baby steps when you're in this situation. They do still have, you know, Karthus and Ezreal damage behind a Sion, even though Huni has been getting melted by the output here so far from FlyQuest. That is a necessary step for them to take.
Yeah, I mean, really not that far off, though, for Clutch. I think a death cap away, pretty much, for Clutch to really be able to say, okay, we've hit our point where we feel our comp is maybe at its strongest, given the play of the game so far.
Yeah, one key thing is that there are at least no more stopwatches to negate the Karthus ultimate coming down. That has happened a couple of times here and denied Clutch Gaming. So definitely looking dire with the 2 inhibitors down, but Clutch have to stay strong and go for that defense.
FlyQuest have to show that, you know what, this game was a bit back and forth. We did get a lead, but we're still capable of closing things out. Viper continuing to be a terror there in the bottom half of the map. Pobelter continuing to play fish. Looking for Piglet, not going to grab it. Damonte breaks the Banshees, chain not going to land, and he zips back over the wall.
Look at this giant Bloodthirster shield on WildTurtle. Adding the extra overheal lifesteal as well. This means that that is over 1,000 shield health right there. You can tell because the big little marker there on the health bar. Each one singles. Oh!
Charges in on the Piglet, was forced to flash out with a supercharger invis.
Holy moly!
That was a turtle moment.
I was looking at the big shield health bar. He made it bigger with his ultimate activation going in 1v3, but once he got exhausted, he knew, all right, fine, I'll flash out. He doesn't hard commit to it, gets to the Thresh Lantern. I like it though. There's always these moments in the game where you're like, okay, you know, this is going to happen. They're slowly going to move up, and you can feel maybe player like Turtle getting a little bored. He's like, I hit him, let's go.
Pobelter picked up Piglet's Gunblade, put him to sleep because FlyQuest are trying to take down the Baron nice and swiftly. Kai'Sa so good on this objective, and Santorin just in time, but not even needed as FlyQuest claim a hasty Baron.
My goodness. All right, with the Baron buff, that is dead. Oh, they're actually going to go for a reset first, but this Baron is going to really put a lot of oomph behind the push here from FlyQuest. Everybody going to go back for one last reset here, purchase elixirs and everything for the full inventories. Extra little blasting wand there for Pobelter.
They'll send Viper top, they'll move down to the Elder Drake and just force Clutch to come to them. And Clutch, they've maybe hit their points. I do see 2 death caps now on their side, but...
That's big. That's a huge breakpoint. You're talking about completing the death cap for Lira for this Karthus. He's also level 16 now.
There goes Huni into the wall. Doesn't quite land the slow, so FlyQuest will get some initiative here. Bunch of CC thrown in, not bad on the damage front. Pobelter back in again, but Piglet starting to pop off with the damage himself.
Yeah, Clutch Gaming still have teeth. You have to be very respectful here. Viper's going for the split push, so Clutch don't have very much time, though, to work with because Viper's closing in on top side and super minions are already on the Nexus turret. They've got to defend.
Yeah, FLICKR actually just barreling down mid lane, trying to take down some more structures. Viper move his way over. He's working on the Nexus. He's going to take at least one of these turrets. He does move away. He's getting the hits down. He's not going to get CC'd up, but can he get out? He dashes out to safety. Now his team moves in to reinforce, and Damonte's out in no man's land. FlyQuest just move in and demolish these inhibs.
Yep, with Baron buff 2 buffing up super minions. Clutch's hands are full trying to just clear out the minions in their base, much less FlyQuest, but they're chasing him down.
Huni back in, but again, can't find a target. Will be hooked up. But FlyQuest just back off. There's no reason to make a big play. Just take the Elder Dragon, reset once more, and end the game.
All right. I want to see them push into the base after the Elder Dragon, but I think you might be right, Base Tree. They might go for the reset here with the extra Baron buffs empowering it. Oh, they were thinking about it. Come on.
All right, you know what? Maybe they've changed their tune code, but the old FlyQuest would have reset.
All right, they're going for it. Baron buff is still on for 1 minute and 18 seconds, and now they've got the extra 4 Elemental Drake back to Elder Dragon buff with true damage coming through. This is definitely going to be it.
Well, 1 inhib left to defend, and then 1 Nexus after that.
Can Clutch make the miracle comeback here? If they get the pick, if they don't waste any time, they immediately go for the offensive play to try and buy themselves a window. That is pretty much the hope.
If there was a comp to do it, it does seem like this one for Clutch, but the walls are just closing in around Clutch. They played pretty well to try and push the game to this point, but FlyQuest just looked a little better now, putting the finishing touches on Clutch's rubble as that inhib falls as well. This is the nightmare scenario. Baron buff, super minions everywhere, Zoe's poking you.
Oh man.
The Riven. Slow and steady towards the Nexus here for FlyQuest. Viper though, taking matters into his own hands. He wants to try and take down the Nexus. They can't really do anything about it. There's too much for Clutch to juggle as FlyQuest stick the landing and take down Clutch.
Viper gets one last kill there at the very end, right before finishing the touches on the Nexus itself, and FlyQuest looking scary. Back-to-back Riven games this week, back-to-back wins, 2-0 weekend, and they are surging once again. Rightful place at the top of the standings.
Absolutely. I think it's always nice to see these players with their pocket picks. You know, you get one win with a champion like Riven, like, okay,
yeah, like, that was cool, dude.
Yeah.
You know?
But to do it again in such commanding fashion, like, it's not just a pick they're playing because he's really good at it, because he is. They also believe that they can build comps around it and win games against a very strong-looking team-fighting team for Clutch. Clutch were in that game pretty much the whole late game. Those last 10-15 minutes, if they could have found a fight, they could have won. But FlyQuest executed really well with their team comp.
Yeah, definitely true. The Clutch Gaming scaling kind of looming over you the whole time, a little bit unsure. But I have to say, really good play from every member on that team. Pobelter constantly finding the picks with Zoe. We had Santorin in the early game dominating for the bottom lane, getting those early kills, set up this Kaisa WildTurtle to be massive. And he had almost 3,000 health there with the Bloodthirster shield at the end, charging in with the ultimate as well. Definitely a super exciting ending and a team fight there for them.
And we have been somewhat critical of teams that say, hey, you look good when you get to play your style, but what else can you play? I think FlyQuest, after that game, get to join the club of, hey, we don't just have to play tank tops to win our games. We can play Riven
That's for
and
sure.
win. Well, let's send it down to Ovally for an interview with Santorin himself.
Thanks, guys. Santorin, congratulations on the win. 2-0 weekend for FlyQuest, complete opposite of last week. What changed for you guys?
Honestly, I think we're just playing easier drafts. So like Zoe makes the game easier because you just poke people out. I think we're trying really hard to play really aggressive style the last few weeks, and I think we're just not quite there yet.
And we saw Viper pull out his Riven again like he did yesterday. Did you want him to play that pick? And tell me about the jungle dynamic between you guys.
I think yesterday it was a great Riven opportunity. Today it was a little suspect. I didn't think it was like too good of an angle, but he's just a really good Riven, and I love playing with Viper, and he's just like a really great teammate.
How has he changed the way that you've played?
I think he's a really aggressive guy, and he loves like making insane plays and like a bunch of TP flanks, and I really enjoy like that kind of like aggressiveness. He just has to like get more experience and understand like which aggressive timings he has to take and not take. So I think eventually he'll become a really good player.
Well, thank you so much, and congratulations again on the win. And for more on the game, let's hear from the State Farm analyst desk.
Thank you very much, Avli. Aggressive games coming out here. FlyQuest, another win, 5-3.
Riven.
Another Riven as well, which I'm excited for. This time into Sion. It wasn't a direct counter pick, but more so, hey, this works. I mean, every team can play Sion, right? You're going to see that all the time. So he's like, no. Into a box kind of matchup, I'm still going to bring out my signature pick. They're alone in third place. FlyQuest look legitimately very good.
Yeah, and it's still a good comp to play it into. When you look at the amount of CC on this side, there's no CC jungler, basically no CC mid laner to lock you down. Marksman, no CC. Sion, ult, and Q, very easy to dodge by a Riven. So you basically have a Braum passive that you hope doesn't get stacked up on you.
Right, and I think moving forward, it just kind of cements the fact that, hey, if you're going to pick Sion or something, I'm going to pick Riven too. I'm going to be a split push threat. And it's really cool to see him and the other top laner earlier that was playing Jax.
Broken Blade.
Broken Blade. The new top laners coming in, picking these hard carry top laners, just split pushing. And they're finally showing a different style rather than just team fighting, because the past 4 weeks, it's just team fight after team fight. Whoever wins that wins the game. But here, you're just split pushing.
You know, what's interesting is this happened last year as well. Remember when Licorice came in for Cloud9, it was like, oh, he's the carry top only player. And then by the end of the year, could play tanks as well. I think back to when Dokla started for Optic Gaming, he was bringing out Yorick before anyone else was playing that champion. He was bringing out Fiora himself. And like, a lot of these guys come up and they play their comfort picks. And that actually has been working. So, you know, historically, I think that has been pretty solid. I had a fun stat here that I got to look up. Huni was minus 36 CSD at 10 this game, which is really bad. For context, last week when he played Spell Thieves, minus 56. So we got more than half the way there compared to where he tried to not get any farm. This was abusive.
I mean, it was not a good laning phase for Huni. He blew one ult down the river to try and get a kill on Pobelter, and then during that time, his wave just got pushed in, and he was missing CS, so very quickly fell really far behind. And it was really bad with what else was happening down the bot lane, because it was losing on both sides of the map real bad.
3 for 1 down here. The first Karthus gank, not amazing.
Right, I gotta say, doing a level 3 Karthus gank is probably not the most ideal plays that you do, especially like kind of like, if Lee Sin isn't there, I can see it possibly working, but you know Lee Sin started red and he's gonna be pathing down, you should just kind of farm on Karthus. That's kind of the game plan, right? Farm up to 6, let your laners farm, and you have an Ezreal there too, like, come, just farm.
Yeah. Yeah, and that was a disaster for this kind of like team we were building as a late game team with the Karthus and the Sion, all this scaling with Ezreal, and to have that happen in the top lane with the CSD and then that happen in the bot lane, it felt like this game should be a complete stomp.
Right. There's like a big CS difference top, big CS difference or pressure bot, and then mid lane wasn't doing too high either. Like even though he wasn't giant behind in CS or anything, he had no pressure. His turret playing was falling behind, and you know they didn't really have anything going for them.
Yeah, so we get to the sort of the later mid-game team fight here, where it's basically WildTurtle in a very, very long fight on like a 4 or 5 item Kai'Sa. Puts out a lot of damage over the course of the next minute and a half.
And you can see it got pretty difficult. There was one dragon fight that basically made this an even game, and it came down to execution. And I would say Viper and Turtle kind of stole the game away. The fact that JayJ was just barely able to get out. Viper eventually finds an angle on people, same with Santorin getting the kickback on the Piglet. And then this kind of extended fight where you don't have these super ultimate reliant champions where Viper can go back in on the Riven, gets his ult up again even. And then you have very easy follow-up and hooks coming in. So really, really clean execution and knowing the limits of their champion better than their opponents.
Yeah, and speaking of knowing limits, I still have not liked Lira a lot this season. We saw that early game gank that went awry. Burned his stopwatch on a for sure death when he could have actually used it in one of those later team fights where you can be disruptive for another 2.5 seconds, get more damage out. So rough stuff here. Clutch sadly on a gigantic slide. 2-0 in the first week, 6 straight losses.
Right, and it's such a weird team comp that they have too. You look at all 5 champions together, and how do they really fit? They have Sion, but then they don't really have damage. They have an assassin mid, they have the AFK farmer jungler, so you can't have a 2v2 mid with a LeBlanc, which you want to do, and you have an Ezreal. So like, it's very single target damage that is also very low, and you saw the team fights, they didn't really go that well. Sure, some characters would get low, but the main priorities on Fly are Kai'Sa and Riven. Kai'Sa was never in danger of dying. Minus the one time he ulted into 3 people. But that's
still got out.
That was more of a turtle thing than anything. But, you know, he was never in danger of dying. If you're not killing the enemy Kai'Sa, you're going to lose these fights.
Yep, and that's what happened, of course. Good team fighting for FlyQuest. They were alone in 3rd place. Now there's one more game before we call it a weekend. And if you want to catch any of the action you may have missed, check out the new LOL Esports YouTube channel, which hosts all the LCS content you could desire. Optic Gaming and Cloud9 battle it out in Game 5, so don't go anywhere.
going to go down. Santorin grabs the double. Might make it 3. Lee Sin, free win. He collects it all. Ah, JJ, he stole it.
Look at Thresh. Damonte, Thresh is wstawać.
Listen's 2 HP. Listen's 2 HP.
We got it.
Huni asleep. Won't quite die. Turtle is going in for it as Lira. Does get one stopwatch out of Pobelter, and JJ somehow lives. FlyQuest still fighting on the other side as Viper.
I'm just gonna go
Karthus, look Karthus.
I'm ending.
Okay.
I can end.
Yeah, just end. Hit. Oh, okay. Kill Karthus. He's ulting. I lock it. KDA.
Nice.
Okay, nice.